I don't tell you what to do. I drop clues. I'm not trying to scare people. This isn't a fear thing. This is just being aware and saying, hey, wait a second, no one's coming to save me. Most people don't realize how good they can actually feel. Now we're getting into tumors, cancers that lead to death. You can trace all of this back. You know, maybe it's going to inspire someone that says, wait a second, this life matters.
He's back.
Again, I think this might be a record. No, you're up there with the most amount of appearances, I think. 4.
Is this number 4?
It's number 4. And I'm trying to think of who else has maybe been on 4 times. No, there might be one. I got to like really look into that, but I think this might be the record.
Well, it's a pleasure my way as well. Always having a good time speaking to you guys and learning and talking. It's the best ever. Is what it's all about.
You're like a giant ball of yarn, man. I feel like we just like keep going down the rabbit hole with you.
It is. It's like a piece of toothpaste or not toothpaste.
Is it toothpaste?
Sorry, floss that you just keep pulling the layers off. You never know where the conversation is.
I had a good reference with the ball of yarn, and then you know,
I always feel like after we're done, there's so much more that I wanted to get in and rabbit hole down. So it's limitless because there's so many things going on in this world, and there's so many things that are revolved around health and life and spirituality and wellness. It's just like nonstop. So
I mean, honestly, I wish every guest was that. Sometimes you get them on here and like 30 minutes is enough time to get you off, buddy. But not everyone can be a winner.
Your audience too is incredible, and I think we parallel a lot of the same people, not just because of me being on the show, but just the circles and network that we're part of. And it's about stepping into your authority and sovereignty and saying, hey, wait a second, no one's coming to save me. We talked about that on the last podcast. And so that power holds true to our conversations and people really feel it. And that's why I'm stoked to be on here.
You can come back anytime. I just was telling you in the hallway, I'm so glad you're on right now because I can just kick back and enjoy the show and pop some popcorn.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, you guys, you bring it out of me for sure.
So you've been on the podcast 3 times before. Everyone should go listen to those episodes. But just to give context for a new listener, someone who hasn't met you, give us like a little spiel of who you are.
Well, I'm a observational singist. I'm an observer. I develop really cool things. I'm part of a company called Cymbiotika with the best organization of all time. We're West Coast people that have a worldly perspective. We're all about, finding your own level of truth within. And so that comes with practice of discernment. And I'm really big on stepping into your own power. I can't speak that high enough. We're all our own researchers and scientists, and whatever I'm doing it's working for us. And if it's something that you love, jump in head first and investigate some more. I don't tell you what to do. I drop clues as part of our reality, because if you just telling people what to do, it's just like, cramming for a test the night before. You're going to memorize it a little bit, and then on day 5, day 6, you'll forget it all. I want to activate people so they can create their own action within. That's my whole thing.
Give us an example of a clue that you've dropped recently.
A clue that I've dropped recently. Okay, let me think for a second. You have to really understand how the human body works in terms of the immune system. And in order to live a healthy lifestyle and to be productive and have cognitive power and to reach peak potential, we got to mitigate all the things that are going on in our body. And what I mean by that is that we're introduced to bacterias and viruses and pathogens 24/7. And the more you can mitigate, the more genius you can activate. And so that's a long-winded, complicated road down a whole black journey of just incredible awareness. But I think that level of understanding that our ability to thrive has to come from understanding the pathogens that exist within us.
When I think of a parasite, and maybe this is ignorant of me, I think of a worm in someone's poo.
Mm-hmm. That's one form of parasite.
Okay, what are all the different forms of parasites?
There are many kinds. The one that you're speaking of is probably coming from raw fish.
I don't have it. Let's. I don't have a worm in my poo. I've never had a worm in my poo.
Ringworms and stuff like that. Yeah.
I don't know about Michael. I've never had.
Well, if it comes out in your poop, that means you did something to get it out, because those things, they want to stay in there. and they're embedded in there. Yeah, not to scare you.
Okay, so give us all
we're going deep.
We're jumping into poop.
We got
and
a little bit
worms.
of foreplay going here, Lauren.
Buy me a drink first,
Yeah,
Lauren.
God damn, Lauren. Okay, parasites. People, I think, and I've seen you talking about this more and more now. It seems like you're very fired up on this very particular topic on parasites. Why did you get so interested on this subject matter?
I just think it's something that has been removed from the social landscape of understanding health and the consequence of health. And our bodies are designed to harbor some forms of bacteria and parasites. They're communal in some case, but left amok, they go full on and they start causing serious damage. They cause damage to the physical body. They cause damage to the spiritual body as well. There's a whole concept on that. Rudolf Steiner talked about that deeply. A lot of your decision-making can be ran by parasites. There's one particular parasite called Toxoplasma gondii, which turns into toxoplasmosis in the body. That comes from the cat. It's a cat parasite, which makes you very promiscuous. It's very interesting. The conscious behind that parasite is it makes the rat chase the cat, so it gets eaten and returns to the host. That's full on, right? See, these things are ancient. They're part of our realm that we live in as human beings. And so we got to understand these things. And they say about 40% of the world is infected with toxoplasmosis. That's a staggering number. We're not talking about 2%. 2% is a lot of people too. We're talking about 40%, 1 in 3 people have toxoplasmosis. And they can get that from eating raw foods. They can get that from walking barefoot in the park, because there's feces everywhere and urine everywhere. They can get that from the cat that's scratching them. There's so many different things, and these things embed in the liver. They embed in the brain. This is real. This isn't some pseudoscience stuff. This is empirical science and data driven by, even big pharma's talking about this. And so we have to be very aware of what's going on inside the body. There's ringworms in sushi. There's all kinds of strains. There's spirochetes in Lyme. How many people are suffering from Lyme disease? We know that that's possibly sexually transmitted now. And so there's all of these.
You're saying Lyme disease is possibly sexually transmitted?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yikes.
The spirochete bacteria, which has a spiral mechanism and it burrows into the bones, into the organs. That's why people are having all of these symptoms. It's full on. My whole thing is that we're going to be communal with these things, but we got to mitigate it so we're not on maximum overload, because that creates a lot of weight and and these things are pooping in our body as well. So it's massive, massive heavy loads in the body, which then go to all the co-infections, right? So all the co-infections start to ignite. And then now we're talking about, we're getting all these symptoms. And what is mainstream calling it? They're calling it, chronic fatigue syndrome. They're calling it, fibromyalgia. They're calling it autoimmune conditions, when the whole time it's just a massive burden of all of these different things in the body that are taking us away from our optimal health. Our immune system's essentially getting stretched. And once you go through the autoimmune, then you're leading towards gnarlier diseases. Now we're getting into tumors, cancers, other forms of pathologies that lead to death.
So let's unpack this a bit. Okay.
Yep.
What is the main kind of criticism or pushback when people bring up the subject of parasites? Like and why is this not
lack of knowledge?
Okay.
Just lack of knowledge, lack of education, not understanding
and
it.
Is that because, how do you even know if you have a parasite? How do people figure this out?
Well, symptoms usually are pretty clear indicators. Like the whites of your eyes are turning red consistently, the sclera. Your brittle hair, dry skin, very uncomfortable. You can't gain weight or you can't lose weight. Diarrhea constantly, constipation, irregular heartbeat, muscle twitching, patchy, dry skin. I think I mentioned that. Not sleeping properly, constantly in a state of stress, constantly in a state of confusion, mood swings, depression. All of these things could be involved in a co-infection.
So everybody has a parasite.
Everybody has parasites. No, everyone has parasites. If you're living in a glass ball, maybe you're not, but you might have passed on from your mom. So your mothers can pass on parasites. That's why that's why you got to be very careful if you're pregnant. You don't want to be around cats that are outside and stuff like that. That's a really big deal. Toxoplasmosis for a mother who's about to carry a baby and for that child is very dangerous. That's a dangerous thing.
So, okay.
So those are symptoms.
Sure.
You can also do a stool test. You can also do some blood work. They can also take a look at your immune system markers and test like tumor necrosis factor, IL-1, interleukin-1, all these different inflammation markers. If they're triggered, then it's possible that you have co-infections in your body. Throw in Epstein-Barr, which is a form of herpes, and all these viral loads, HPV, all these things, they all meet together and create loads in the body that create confusion and all of the symptoms that I just brought up.
So let me try to make some people feel better here. So because everyone's listening to this right now and being like, holy shit, I probably have parasite. I'm freaking out. What the fuck do I do? Right? Like that's the first question people are asking themselves.
Well, don't get scared. Just get aware and bring the knowledge in and have some strategies.
So where are people picking up these parasites most commonly?
At the airport, through their friends, sharing food with people, kissing people, barefoot on the earth, which is crazy because I'm a barefoot guy, right? Sitting on a bathroom stall on the toilet.
Walking in my house after you've walked through the park and petroleum at the gas station in your cowboy boots.
I don't do that anymore.
No
Towns
shoes in the
is
house.
then crawling on my floor that you think
please don't use this as your personal therapy session.
But
please,
I can't.
Please.
No
Okay.
shoes in my house, Parasite.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, so these are the places that people are picking them up. And
Sushi.
most people are their systems, or not to say most people with strong immune systems, strong function, healthy people that are taking care of themselves, are their systems able to eradicate these easier?
Yes.
Is that the main thing? Okay.
Absolutely.
So people that are not, having oversight over their body, not taking care of themselves, maybe eating like shit, putting poor things in their body, all of the things that we know we shouldn't be doing, it's creating an environment for these things to get stronger and live longer in their system. Is that correct?
Bingo. To wreak more havoc when your ability to resist pathogens and all these other toxic loads starts to weaken, then those things start to proliferate, and those things start to create, they burrow themselves into cysts in the body, and other people call them biofilms. These things are embedded within us. If you have an immune system that's dragged all over the place, then you're in war in every different angle. That's the whole thing. That's like, think of a military, right? If you have an enemy on the other side of the line and you know where that line is, you want to bottleneck them in one section, right? Because that's where you're going to have your guns. That's where you're going to have your firepower. But if they get around you in a circle and start digging into all these different fronts, that's how if you look at history, that's how they lose the war, right? Is they have all these different openings, right? That's how the immune system works. And co-infections work like that. So you don't want to have the line of your immune system have holes everywhere. And that's the key of having a strong microbiome, having strong hydrochloric acid in your gut, having a strong immune system, starting in your oral health. It's interesting, like you can get cavitation surgery and they can find parasites that are burrowed into your holes of your mouth.
What do these things look like? When I think of a parasite, I'm thinking of like a worm that's running around. Is that what
they all look different? They're microscopic.
Different.
Some are big. Some are tapeworms, or it could be a couple feet, if not longer. Some are microscopic, gram negative, meaning like really, really small and different. The walls of the cells look different. Some have sharp edges, like spirochetes that come from ticks for Lyme. Those things they look like little screws. They come in all different shapes and sizes. It's full on, it's a whole nother realm out there that's burrowed within us. And again, look, I'm not trying to scare people. This isn't a fear thing. This is just being aware. I come across too many people that are struggling with this kind of stuff. And so we just got to shine the light on it and put some knowledge there so we know how to live a healthy lifestyle and find balance and thrive, as opposed to always being in a deficit and always being under the gun. And that's what these things do. Co-infections take you into a deficit. That's why, you catch a cold 3-4 times a year. My whole thing is, and what we're learning is, you're catching a cold because your immune system's down, right? You're not supposed to be getting strep throat all the time. You're not supposed to be coughing up phlegm all the time. You're not supposed to be sick all the time. You add that up for 40, 50 years, that's like 2-3 years of your life, you're sick. And there are studies, like someone who's got, chronic strep throat, which is linked to bacterial infections and things like that, they start to have a higher chance of throat cancer, right? These things they connect, all of them connect. So we want to mitigate the damage from this point on, and we want to lower the burden in the body.
So let's approach this like an onion.
Yep.
What is the foundation of being healthy to not have strep? And what I mean by that is I want to get into what we can do for parasites after, but what is just a foundation to have a healthy immune system? Like give me specific examples.
Well, that's a good question. So it's like, okay, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Like, you can't properly sleep if you have multiple things going in your body that are causing stress. You can't rejuvenate the body if you're not sleeping properly. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So there's many moving parts here. I think ultimately health, it means that number one, you're properly hydrated, you're properly mineralized, you have really good hygiene, you have a well-balanced diet, you're getting the right nutrients into your body, you have the right form of prebiotics and probiotics that are working in your guts, you have a nice balance there, and you're moving your body and oxygenating your body. That's the foundation of health. And you're getting all the sunlight, and you're getting all the light therapies, all of those things are happening. At that point, now it's to go up another level. We want to make sure that we're getting, compounds in our body that are mitigating stress and lowering the reaction of feeling the effects of pathogens that are attacking us on a daily basis. So that's when you start introducing other forms of therapy, like ozone therapy, for example, or different forms of cleansing and things of that nature. For us, cleansing is a big part of our lives. We're in a dirty world right now. There's so much shit being sprayed in the atmosphere. There's so much stuff that's hitting in the soil. Food is dilapidated in so many ways. So we have to be cleansing our body and getting the right things in.
There is nothing worse than razor burn. I was like using Michael's razors on my legs, and I decided to switch up my game. So I was sent a bunch of Athena Club's razors, and I just could not believe the difference in my skin. I feel like I've just been missing out. It also, and I just learned this recently, has hyaluronic acid around it, which is probably why I like it so much, because hyaluronic acid is a holy grail for skincare. I looked into the whole situation and I found out that the razor kit is only $10, which I think is so affordable. A lot of these razors are outrageous, which is why I was just like using Michael's out of convenience, and it was there. But now with my Athena razor, I have my skincare on point, and I never have to think about blade refills because you choose how often you want replacement blades. They're shipped to you. This is so amazing to be able to have easy, accessible razors shipped to your door. These ones are legit because they're all about skincare. So they're designed with built-in skin guards to help prevent razor burn and just gentle on the curved areas. There's nothing worse when you get out of the shower and you have like cuts all over your legs. Not with Athena Club. Switch to the better razor and show your skin you care with Athena Club. Get started today by shopping in-store at Target stores nationwide. Just head to the shaving aisle to find the razor kit, cloud shave foam, wax strips, and razor refills. You can get it all at Target or online.
Regular listeners of this show must be living under a rock with their ears plugged if they haven't yet started taking Athletic Greens, also known as AG1. We have been talking about AG1 for years now, and we aren't the only ones. For those that are still unfamiliar with Athletic Greens, let me break it all down for you. Athletic Greens is your one-stop shop for everything you need to start your day right. It's the green powder of green powders. Simply take a single scoop of Athletic Greens in the morning with a large glass of water to get your daily multivitamins, your prebiotics, your probiotics, your adaptogens, and your minerals, all packed into one scoop of delicious green powder. Lauren and I take Athletic Greens every single day. We take it when we are at home and when we are traveling. It's an absolute game changer for us. We have noticed more energy, more focus, better skin, no more dark under eye circles. We just feel better. It's made with 75 super high quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients that deliver benefits like mood, immune system, and sleep support, sustained energy, and so much more. Something else I love about AG1 is that it is delivered monthly. It shows up right to my front door, so I never have to worry about it running out. So if you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/skinny. That's drinkag1.com/skinny. So again, if you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/skinny. That's drinkag1.com/skinny. Check it out.
Recently, we had a scientist on our podcast, and he's also a scientist who works with Delavie Sciences. And basically, they created this age-defying serum that's like incredible. It was created by him, who's a scientist, and a Harvard biologist and longevity expert, David Sinclair. You've probably heard of David Sinclair. He's very famous. And together, they made this combination of technology and skincare and used natural elements to really elevate skincare. I was immediately intrigued with this topic because you know how much I like skincare. And together, they used Bacillus laetat, which is the first biological cosmetic to be certified by the Space Foundation. So this is like wild shit for your skin. And everything about this product helps reduce fine lines and wrinkles, but most importantly, it protects the skin's moisture barrier. So this is going to improve elasticity and firmness. So if you are looking for something to really seriously, scientifically fight the visible impacts of aging, this is your product. If you want to know more and you want to know the science behind it, you can go back and listen to that episode, or you can visit delavie.sciences.com. That's DELAVIE sciences.com. Visit delavie.sciences.com to receive 25% off your first order of Aeonia Age-Defying Serum. Use promo code SKINNY at checkout to receive your discount.
Cleansing. Explain really detailed what you do to cleanse.
Well, I move my body. I get in saunas. I sweat. First and foremost, I'm hydrated, which helps push debris out of the body and metabolic waste. I'm taking charcoal on a daily. I would say every day I'm taking some form of charcoal, which is pulling toxins out of my body and lowering the burden on my kidneys and liver. I'm working on my breath. Breath is one of the main ways to detoxify. I'm making sure that I'm eating foods that keep me regular. How many people are constipated out there? It's incredible. If you're constipated, you're already under the gun times 10 because your body's not able to push toxins out. I'm making sure that I don't have weird perfumes and deodorants like we talked on in the last conversation on my body that's mitigating my body's ability, stunting my body's ability to push toxins out. I'm letting my skin be free. I do a lot of skin cleansing, so my skin's not covered with debris and all kinds of toxins.
You gave Michael this recipe. You and Jamie gave him this recipe that to help if you have a rash. It's like, how do you say the word? Deficit earth?
Desecrated.
Diatomaceous earth. What did you call it? I like that.
I like to make up words.
Deficit. That's like a Greek name.
But you mixed it with, you did that with something else. I forgot.
All kinds of stuff with vodka, with silica, with magnesium chloride. There's a bunch of other compounds in there. And did you ever end up doing it?
No, because it went away.
Okay. All right.
But did it go away?
Yeah, good question. Fungus is real. Fungus is in the body.
Did you hear what's that new one that's going around the earth right now? Is that real or no?
I mean, it's interesting timing because they have that TV show, right?
Yeah.
It's the cordyceps, right? In that show.
So, but have you been reading about this stuff? People are freaking the fuck out again.
Everyone's sending it to me. I was actually looking at it this rise, and I need to go deeper on it. But we are invaded with microorganisms.
Your point is that the earth is extremely dirty right now. There's all sorts of stuff attacking our systems. We're not taking care of ourselves. I mean, here's the thing. And I know there's a segment of, most of our audience is super receptive to this stuff, as you pointed out, but there's a segment that always listens like, oh, you can't, like, that's a lot of stuff you can't. And then my whole pushback on that is like, yeah, it's, Charlie Munger has a quote. It says, anybody who thinks it's easy is stupid, right? Like, and I always say like, yeah, none of it is easy, but if it's going to increase your lifespan or make you healthier or,
make you feel better.
Yeah. Or like, even like how many people it's not easy. It's not hard for them to go out on a Friday night and go to the bar and get absolutely wasted. Like take that money, save that and like invest in health a little bit once in a while. Maybe
put the vodka on your rash.
But the point is yeah, like a lot of this stuff sounds overwhelming. Like the saunas, the ice baths, the supplements, all this. But I'm like, listen, if that increases your lifespan, like your health is more important. That is your wealth, right? Like your health is your wealth.
Look, you don't need to be doing any of this stuff. And you can continue to just be on your path or whatever. This isn't telling you what you have to do. These are just ways that we know that work that help mitigate the damage that's being done. Most people, want no part of this. They'll rather take an antibiotic from a pharmacy and see where that takes them. But we now know what antibiotics do. And we know that what deficit that causes in the body and then in the mind and ultimately in the spirit. Our whole thing is that, there's so much ancient alchemy out there from so many different parts of the world. And what I'm doing, what my team's doing, what Cymbiotika is doing is we're merging all of those realms into a way that is applicable and easy to use. And yeah, you got to go through some fire a little bit. That's part of being human.
I do have to give you a compliment. You really have created something that does seamlessly integrate throughout the day. Like, it's very easy for me to pick up my glutathione and my vitamin C and throw it in my purse. And then I almost like enjoy it. Like I look forward to it. It's like a little treat throughout the day.
It's a ritual for you now.
It's a ritual, and it's easy to travel with, and I feel better after it. Like the brand is, I mean, you're doing something big.
We had a
You know
flight
that,
the other
but-
day to New York, and we had to kind of do back to back, which was rough. We had to go like last week and then wait a week and then go again. It's just a lot of flying.
I can't talk about this flight anymore. Though. I'm
I'm not
gonna blow my
gonna
head
get
off.
But I like Lauren looks at me
He's been
crazy,
talking
but
about
I
it.
take these vitamin C, and like during that flight to New York, even though it's 3 hours, I'll slam like 2 of these, and I'll have one in the morning too. And I know it's like maybe overkill, but I'm like, listen, I'm just like jacking my immune function up.
Yeah.
And then I get through the day the next day.
No, that's great. I mean, you're getting 2 grams of vitamin C, and that's fantastic. And accessibility for some people, that's all that matters. Some people don't, it's just not part of their intuition or their karma to go super hyper deep on things. And that's totally fine. There's no judgment here. We're just, the conversation like this is just, maybe it's going to inspire someone that says, wait a second, like this life matters. And I want to feel good, and I want to make sure that I'm healthy and I'm thriving, and I'm healthy with my partner, and I'm healthy when I want to have children. And I don't want to have chronic infestation infections damage me and cause me to go down a road of, other forms of disease. I want to feel good. And I think we also talked about this earlier. Most people don't realize how good they can actually feel. And that's getting on the other side of this stuff. Again, my whole thing is how you do anything's how you do everything. And so we're not obsessed with all of these things. It's not some like militaristic structure. It's just having, the desire to want to know, wait a second, what the hell's going on in my body?
So
Someone said to someone I know the other day, they're like, does Lauren really do all of these wellness things that she talks about? Like, does she do the red light and the cold and the sauna and all these things? And the person said, yeah, she really shows her life. And the girl goes, God, Lauren must be so stressed to have to do all this. And the girl said back to her, no, she's actually preventing stress from occurring so she can be more effective. And that's the way I look at it. What you just said, it's not a like thing I have to do. It's things that make me feel better. So when I am working, I can be super effective.
I love that. You're making a choice for you. It's not for anyone else. It's for you. When you jump in 38-degree water, you're activating survival stress releases. And because you're doing it consistently, those reflexes and stress reactions are now becoming comfortable for you. So now when you're walking on the street and someone yells at you or someone cuts you off, you're not getting affected by it anymore. Do you get what I'm saying?
Totally.
And this is what being a devout, disciplinary person is that this is a strategy. It's not, if someone wants to get into all this because it's trendy, God bless you. I'd rather you do this stuff because it's trendy than that other stuff over there. But at the end of the day, you're doing this because this stuff, it works. And there's a lot of science that backs it up.
So do we have to walk around assuming that in our normal course of life, anyone that's living and walking on this planet is going to attract parasites or get parasites in their system? And the whole idea is knowing that that's going to happen, you have to create the strongest immune function available to you, or that's possible, in order to fight them out of your system consistently. Is that like the idea?
I think that's the perspective. The idea that we have to eradicate and cleanse and do all that stuff is a little bit too much for people to handle. I think the idea is let's bolster the immune system. Let's lower the I would say the obstacles of the immune system so we stay more in homeostasis. The goal is to be in balance. That's it. Once we start declining into deficits, that's when problems start to get worse and worse and worse.
So the problem is that, if you're not living that way, you're not taking care of yourself, you create an environment where these things actually like thrive.
Yeah.
And they take over your system. And then all of a sudden you have all these chronic conditions or these, behaviors that start to manifest because your system has been overrun by these parasites that are living there comfortably.
Totally. How many people do you know that are suffering from autoimmune conditions like Hashimoto's and all these other things, right?
You just throw a rock in any direction in LA.
Everybody. I mean, everyone I come across is like dealing with some type of thyroid condition or, You know, their body's not regulating stress properly and they're not sleeping. And it's like, you can trace all of this back to just having too much infectious problems in the body. And so this is a big deal. I mean, look what we just went over the last 3 years, right? So many people were, were so scared of what the news was telling them and all this other stuff. Where we now have evidence that all the co-infections out there are real, and they're leading you down a really troubled path.
I kind of want you to go off though on something, because I know you will.
Uh-oh.
I text you and I said, everyone on TikTok is talking about this parasite cleanse. And it was like a really spammy one. And I text you about it and you were like, wait, like, don't do anything. Don't buy this. Just wait a minute. What do you think about social media and parasites? Like, what the narrative has been?
I think it's fear mongering.
Right.
Because it's polarizing, just like anything else. Anyone that's just constantly like, this is going to kill you. This is this. It's, aliens inside of you and all that kind of stuff. If it sparks someone to want to have more interest to learn more, great. But I don't think we can operate through cleansing and getting our immune system back to where it needs to be through fear, right? We can't. Fear just causes everything to contract in the body. It causes the immune system to contract. This should be a moment of like, holy shit, aha moment. Wow. What a way to learn more about the body and to investigate what's happening inside of us. Let's not be driven to learn because we're scared. Let's be driven to learn because we're hyped. And that's my take on investigating all things when it comes to illnesses and disease and bacteria and infections and Lyme and all that kind of stuff. Toxoplasmosis, all of that. We can't be scared of it. We can't be in fear. And so I don't buy into a lot of that social media stuff.
So if someone's out there and they're like, I think I might have a parasite and I want to do something about it, or they know they have a parasite, what are the tools in the toolbox to get rid of these parasites?
Or even if they don't and they just want to create a strong system to make sure that
everyone has parasites.
Okay.
Let's make that clear. We all have parasites. Just some are communal, meaning they can create balance and they're symbiotic in nature, and a majority of them are not. And they're causing massive devastation in the body, and they're gonna get you. So what is our first step? I think our first step is what we talked about. We got to get the foundation healthy. Right. So we got to make sure we're sleeping properly. We got to make sure that our stress is regulated. We got to make sure we're eating the right foods, that we're encouraging the microbiota to be in balance. We got to make sure we're producing hydrochloric acid properly in the gut. That's our first line of defense.
How do we produce hydrochloric acid properly in the gut?
Well, you don't drink alkalizing water all day long. That's been, subject to some kind of machine that's turned it into an alkaline water. Spring water is fine, but you don't want to diffuse the acidity of your gut. That's really important.
Like all that pH alkaline stuff, is that all bullshit?
That's a very dynamic question. But pH is percentage of hydrogen or parts of hydrogen. It's very important to understand how pH works in the body, but we can't be drinking, electrolyzed water all day long.
So what should we be drinking?
Well, I think you should be drinking spring water. Spring water is very good.
Hydrogen tablets.
Hydrogen's good, which is doesn't really affect that. It's more of an antioxidant, hydrogen. I think we need to get the right salts in our body. We should be having the right salts. We need to have fermented food in our body, right? So I'm big on fermented food.
Is there a certain salt that you like, or do you just like table salt? Like, what's the salt?
Celtic sea salt is
you told me that on one of the episodes. So you do Celtic sea salt when you wake up?
I do Celtic sea salt when I wake up. I do Celtic sea salt throughout my day when I eat food. That's the salt that goes into my body.
And for fermented foods, what are your go-tos?
Sauerkrauts, just all the different kinds of sauerkraut, kimchi,
pickles,
cauliflower, all that kind of stuff. I love it.
Okay.
You used to make fun of me in the car when I had kimchi.
No.
You used to say it smelled.
Well, most kimchi that's just out there is really gnarly. So make sure you're getting it from like the right place. Okay.
I have the best kimchi
by
Wild Brime.
I feel it's gnarly.
Do you like that one?
I don't know that one, but it sounds like they know what they're doing.
And this motherfucker was like, that smells. And now he's eating kimchi.
It's gnarly when you're not participating and sharing it, and then someone else is eating it and you're in a closed space. It's just gnarly. It's just a strong, it's not bad. It's just strong.
Call a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Okay. The last time we talked about this, somebody wrote in and said like I was like hurting someone's culture and yelled at me. And I just honestly, I'm like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? But anyways, back to what we're doing.
So we got to
here.
get the basics in. The foundation of our immune system has to be there, guys. That's really, really important. Then we can start going into the second layer, which is things like Para-X or ozone treatments, cleansing, enemas, different types of herbal cleanses, different types of things like that. Also, antifungal, parasitic diets, where we're kind of starving them out to a certain degree.
What would those consist of?
Well, mainly we can't be eating denatured sugars all day long, right? So that comes in the form of processed foods and things like that. We can't have simple sugars. If you notice, the parasitic energy has a hive mind, right? Like these things are smart. They're intelligent. They've evolved over time in this realm. They confuse the human experience. They confuse how we operate. There's a lot of spiritual perspective that, you're riddled with parasites. You're operating as a parasite. They've taken over. So that means that you're going to be sucking the energy out of people, vampiric energy. I think we all know people like that. That's really important conversation. It's the mechanism that parasites work that we have to research. And that's what Rudolf Steiner said. And he said that the parasite hive mind enters the cerebral cortex and turns us into a conscious state of parasitism, which means that we're constantly looking to see how we can take from others, and we don't even know it. That's the intelligence behind it. It's almost taken over our entire being. And that's really important because I think we all know that there is a heavy load of vampiric energy out there and parasitic energy out there. People are preying on people, and most of the time they don't even know what they're doing.
That is so crazy. It's like a dementor energy.
Totally. Yeah.
So it could actually be something in your system that's causing people to be like that.
I believe so. I mean, the action that the signal pathways that they operate with, like for example, Candida, which is it's a fungus-like bacteria, Candida albicans, that's sending signals into the brain of immediate desire for sugar. So a lot of your sugar cravings. So just think about the intelligence behind that. There's a particular out of balance material compound in the body that's sending brain signals to you to push your ghrelin, your hunger hormone, to desire sugar, which is their main fuel. That's intelligent.
So is it a good indicator if you are somebody that's craving sugar all the time that there may be either some candida or...
Absolutely.
So if you're somebody that's feeling like you need sugar all the time, you might want to think about, starving yourself of sugar and doing some kind of cleanse to get your body regular again.
Correct. Yeah, candida diet, fungal diet, things of like that nature. SIBO, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, all of these things, they're all interconnected, interwoven in the body. And they all affect the liver, the kidney, the gallbladder. They sit on the mucous membranes of your esophagus. They sit in all your internal organs, and they create damage. And they don't allow you to uptake the nutrients that we're putting in our body as well. So
what does alcohol do for
proliferates it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sugar alcohol. And so alcohol puts more stress on your body's ability to produce hydrochloric acid, also puts more stress on the liver and kidneys. And so those start to work in a deficit. When those aren't functioning, then you have a backup of bacteria and parasites in the body.
So this is going to sound like a really...
But I'll tell you this, parasites and bacteria, they love heavy metals. They love plastics, petroleum, they love alcohol, they love all of this shit and clutter in the body. They thrive in that ecosystem. They need that ecosystem. Do you know why? Because they thrive in nitrogen situations. So sugar and alcohol and even some forms of protein, they create nitrogen in the body. Parasites and bacteria, they feed off that. That's what they're feeding off heavy metals and stuff like that. They can't breathe oxygen. The healthy stuff in our body is oxygen breathing. So that's another way of looking at what parasites and bacteria do. They rob the body of oxygen. Just think how crazy that is. And what happens when the cells in your body are not getting fully oxygenated? Well, you rapid aging, cellular degeneration, and you go from looking like you're 28 to 55 in a matter of 2-3 years. That's real. Ugh. And so another thing, like people that are listening to this that care about their beauty and things like that, this is one of the most, after we were done with making Para X, which took forever, I was like, this is a beauty formula more than anything, because what we're doing is we're allowing the body to have an opportunity to breathe oxygen on the inside.
Wella Professionals just released its most luxurious hair care line, Ultimate Repair. You've seen this on my stories. It is the move if you're like me and you don't like to wash your hair a lot, but you also use heat tools on your hair. So what I do is I get in the shower, I wet my hair, I don't wash it, and then I'll get out and I'll put Wella's Ultimate Repair Miracle Hair Rescue. It's like a leave-in spray. And what it does is it repairs hair damage in 90 seconds. It gives you smoother hair, but most importantly, with less breakage. And I think the reason it does this is because there's omega-9 in it. And this is going to replenish the outside layers of your hair. What I've noticed is that when I go on vacation, I'm not a big fan of like doing my hair fully. So I'll just bring this with me and I'll wet my hair. I won't shampoo it. And then I'll put it in a sleek bun. I'll sleek it back. And then my hair is literally being repaired while I'm out and about having margaritas. It's a great hack. And then how I use this at home is whenever I don't want to wash my hair, but I like worked out, I'll wet it and then I'll put this in it. And it's just amazing if you want to repair your hair while you're on the go. It's vegan, cruelty-free, safe for colored hair, which is important. And it's also formulated without artificial dyes. You can purchase Ultimate Repair Miracle Hair Rescue at Ulta now. You can also go to Wella.com, that's WELLA.com to learn more.
The Skinny Confidential, Him and Her podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. We've had so many high performers on this show talking about multiple facets of life and how they find performance, longevity, health, wellness to live happy, productive lives. And in that toolbox for many of these high performers, if not most of them, is therapy. The problem is therapy has not always been accessible to everybody. You have to go find a doctor, you have to drive to an office, and sometimes it can be really expensive. Why I love this platform so much is you can do this all from the comfort of your own home, which means you're already in a comfortable state of mind. You're already in a comfortable place and you can find the therapist that's right for you. Using this platform, BetterHelp is all online directly from your home. Anyone that's interested in therapy, sharing their thoughts, sharing their feelings, talking through an issue, really just working through any kind of problem or dilemma in their lives. This is an amazing platform to get started with therapy right away, like I said, from the comfort of your own home. So therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding, because sometimes we don't know what we want or why we react the way we do until we talk things through. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/skinny today to get 10% off your first month. That's better, HELP.com/skinny. Again, visit betterhelp.com/skinny today to get 10% off your first month. That's better, HELP.com/skinny. Check it out.
Every single night, without fail, I take magnesium. And I do this because I have noticed that it winds me down. And the magnesium that I'm obsessed with is from JS Health. She actually came on the podcast and she has this company called JS Health Vitamins. And everything is science focused. So she really makes targeted formulas to help you meet your personal health goals. And with her magnesium, it's just superior. Why I like it and why I like it before bed is it contains 3 forms of bioavailable magnesium. This is really important when you're choosing a magnesium. You want to make sure, I think, that it includes the 3 forms. And this one specifically is designed to support muscle relaxation and recovery, also nervous system function. So when I take it at night, I'll like have a piece of chocolate in bed, take my magnesium, lay with my red light, and usually read off my Kindle. And I swear to God, it just winds me down. It's so relaxing. And what's happened is I've essentially like habit stacked my night with her magnesium. If you're looking for a really great science-focused magnesium, this is it. Check out the magnesium if you want to wind down and make going to sleep easier. You can go to jshealthvitamins.com/skinny and use code skinny for 20% off your order or first subscription order. That's jshealthvitamins.com/skinny.
Can anyone take this anytime? Like, can I take 3 right now on air? Or is it not like that? Is it something that you have to know that you have a certain kind of parasite?
No. Anyone can take that.
So I could try it right now?
Yeah. Have you not taken any?
I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah. I would start with 1 capsule.
Okay.
Yeah. Take 1 capsule.
Am I going to shit a worm?
Who knows what's in that? I don't know what's inside of you.
Okay. So what's in this?
A lot.
And what's it going to do?
A lot.
Tell me every single detail.
You want to go deep on this?
Let's go. You know I do.
But before you do, I got to ask my stupid question. No, because we're gonna go super into this. But I got to ask my stupid question. Is it strange to think that the way I'm thinking about this now is that I'm constantly going to have parasites eradicating my system, but then it's my body's and myself's job to constantly kill those off and not let them get bigger and bigger and fester and fester. It's like I feel like I'm going to get a constant influx of these parasites, like everyone, but like the goal is to not let them
proliferate.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to lower the effect that they're having on your entire network. And that starts with like your cardiovascular system, your digestive system, your central nervous system, because all the like spirochetes and a lot of these bacterias and infections and viruses, they get into the brain, they get into the spinal cord. You know, there's really crazy tests that they've done
right away, or if they're,
I mean, some right away, like Lyme gets into the brain pretty quick, gets into this. They like those areas because there's a lot of nerve tissue. Like, for example, the myelin sheath. Are you familiar with myelin sheath? Myelin sheath is what gets basically eaten up. And that's how people start getting multiple sclerosis, MS symptoms. There's a lot of conversations. Now you got to look at the studies out there, but there is conversations that MS is antagonized by, parasitic infections along with heavy metals and other toxicities. It's just an overburden on the body that just can't regulate itself anymore. Our body came with a set of instructions. When it's being penetrated by 10 billion different pathogens and heavy metals and toxins and stuff like that, at some point it taps out. And that's when failures like that start to happen. People who's had their appendix ruptured, right?
Me.
You. Well, there's a lot of studies now that they've taken appendixes and dissect them and evaluated them, and they're loaded with parasites.
Like mine was gangrene.
It could have been. Yeah. Was there gangrene in yours?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's an infection, right? That's like Staphylococcus or whatever, staph or anything. Gangrene is an infection that's there. What are infections? These are pathogens. These are bacterial strains that just run amok.
What's frustrating though to me is I remember being in 12th grade and my appendix bursting, and I asked the doctor, what is this from? Like, what's the root of this? And
they had no answer.
No, he's like, well, sometimes it just happens.
No, it doesn't just happen.
It's so blasé.
Yeah, of course, because they're not approaching it from the root cause. Yeah, I've had so many people that have had cavitation surgery where they, most people have gotten their wisdom teeth pulled. And by getting your wisdom teeth pulled, by the way, which is a draconian practice, in my opinion, you should not get your wisdom teeth pulled. Your teeth are attached to meridian points. It's so important. Well,
why do they pull them, by the way?
It just because of, sometimes they say it's impacting and it's
money.
Yeah.
Come on.
Money. And they don't even pull them the right way. Like in order to pull a tooth, it's a whole procedure, and you have to go in there and clean it out and put calcium in there and other things and cement it up. They don't do that. They just sew it up and give you some ice and give you an Advil.
Yeah, that's what they did to me. I mean, like
that's what they did to you
when we were kids, right? Like
I'm done listening to
they
the
did
protocol.
The same thing. They did the same thing to me.
It's a cattle call.
It totally is. And so
I remember at the time it was like I wasn't bothered by anything. They're just like, yeah, you got to get this, come and do this surgery and get it done. I was like, what?
Of course you weren't. Yeah, that's just part of it's draconian by its very nature. So I wanted to investigate my health further, and I felt good. I'm asymptomatic. And I went and got a cone beam scan where they scan my mouth.
This is what Noi told us about. Dana, go ahead.
And sure enough, I had infections, and I went to a specialist. They tested it, and in that infection was everything we're talking about, from parasites to bacteria strains to staph. All kinds of shit is burrowed in there.
Our friend Dana came on the podcast, and she has a cancer in her leg, and I'm maybe flubbing this story a little bit. She's more eloquent at it, but she went to get the same scan that you're talking about. It's called like a biodentist, right?
Well, she was saying
a biodentist could schedule it.
Long story short, she had a lot of traumatic mouth surgery and dental work on one side, and cancers on the same. People will hear that episode. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole here, but
it was on the same side.
Look, if something happens to your elbow, that can affect your liver. You know, we're kind of, it's a body. Like they're all connected. Everything's connected. Your big toe, if something happens to your big toe, it could kill you. Like these things are not separated. And so we found all these infections in the mouth. And it's just, I'm bringing it up because there's so much stuff burrowed in us that we don't even know that it's there. And I had to go and get all that stuff removed and go on a protocol. But I felt over the last 6 months after that procedure, night and day.
That's what she said. She said she felt like it was like a weight lifted off her shoulders, like energetically.
It really was. I noticed it really profound in my, I would say in my sacred medicine experiences and my psychedelic experiences, because that would always come up for me whenever I was, on some kind of journey. I would always feel like there's something going on here, because when you're tapped into those spaces, it's like, neurogenesis. You're activating parts of your brain and parts of your soul that is usually laying dormant. And it kept telling me there's something going on in my jaws. There's something going on. I felt good. My vitality was perfect. Blood work is perfect. Everything's great, but something's happening in there. That's what drove me to actually do this.
When are you going to feed me toad? I'm not joking. Can you feed me toad on air?
Michael, that sounds kinky.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Okay, whatever you guys got to do.
So we need to go back to my original question, which is dissect what's in this and why you decided to put it in this, and how do people take it? And
how long did it take you to do this? Because I know you said you've been working on this for a long time.
Yeah.
Para X.
Almost 2 years. Look at the color of these things. Have you seen them?
Yeah, beautiful.
I have.
Look at that.
It's like a navy blue.
Yeah, it's just incredible. So it's, microspheres in liquid oil. So this came together from a lifetime of just understanding health and wanting to really push the boundaries outside of the basic herbal cleanses that were out there. So I would look at this formula. This is not a cleanse. This is an immunomodulator. So what were we talking about is modulating the immune system. We want to assist the immune system. So imagine that your body's under severe attack 24/7. And we'll call that number 100%. The point of this formula is to reduce that 100% down to 20%. So now you have 80% more voltage or more power from your immune system that is being sequestered or saved, as opposed to being pushed out all the time. So imagine with that much more immune system, what you're going to have for the rest of your life, right? Because our health span is dependent on our immunological response. And so if our immune system is constantly at attention 24 hours a day, 7 days a week because of co-infections, we're going to be doing a major disservice and we're going to be aging at a much different rate. So this formula is not a cleanse. It's to lower the burden of all of these pathogens on the immune system. Are we with me?
Yep. And so if somebody starts this, you just started Lauren on 1, and I'm going to work on it 2. How long can they take this for consistently? Is this something like
forever?
Okay, so you can do this. This could just be part of your daily routine, just like a multi.
Correct. Yeah, our structure and our protocol is you're on this, basically for 21 days, and then you're taking a week off, and then you start back on. Or you could do 5 days on, 2 days off. However, ideally you're on it during the full moon, which we know that a lot of the parasites are acting up in the body and things of that.
I did not know that's not something I didn't know, the full moon affected the parasites, but now I know.
There's some information there.
Okay,
yeah,
listen,
Michael, you've made fun of me for woo-woo shit. I believe it.
I'm not making fun of anyone at all. But you say that so casually, like we all know the full moon affected parasites.
You do say it casually.
Ever heard of a lunatic? Like you know what a lunatic is, right?
Sure.
Well, the moon is Luna, and a tick, lunatics.
Is that real, or is he making that up?
I mean, there's something to that. There's something to that. I mean, lunatic for sure is related to the moon.
I'm just saying that we've just introduced people to parasites. We can't expect them to line up the moon cycle with them. They're just learning what they're. But it's fine.
I'll dance naked in front of the moon, grounding myself while I'm taking my Para-X.
Okay, so you can take this. And why do you want to take a week off or a couple days off?
Just to let your body reset a little bit.
Okay.
That's the thinking behind that, which makes sense. And anytime that you're dealing with anything that has strong herbal extracts, herbs are, they're medicinal, right? They create they're mycotoxins, right? So like, there's different forms, right? Like there's herbs that you can just eat in your garden, that you eat in your salads, like basil and things like that. But then there's stronger herbs like poison ivy and stuff like that, right? And other ashwagandha and things like that. So herbs have a cyclical perspective. These aren't things that you just take every single day.
Okay.
They cause a spark in the immune system.
And if you're taking it for the first time and you're a novice and you've never had this in your
Start
system
with one.
before,
Start with one capsule. Spread it out 3 times a day.
and what's going to happen? Like, what's your body going to do?
Well, you might feel it. I mean, a lot of people are reporting feeling. I feel it. Everyone feels it.
Feel like an energy, or
Some people
going to
get
the bathroom, or
Some people get energy.
He wants to know if he's going to shit his pants on Skype.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
do I got to take my Zoom calls with no camera for a minute?
we haven't had that reaction. So you're not having like an evacuation type deal.
Okay.
But things are coming up emotionally for people. Just think about that. In my private Telegram room, you know, a lot of these people have access to these formulas before we actually do full launches. And that's a lot of the things that are coming up. It's cathartic in a sense, where you're getting, it's almost like a medicine ceremony where things are coming up, and which makes sense because, you know, we're going after those things that hold such a strong position in the body and are constantly signaling our brain.
So here's a question. If you take this for a month and then you detox for a week and then you take it for a month and you detox for a week, what's happening? The parasites are ridding. Like, I don't understand exactly what it's doing.
It's doing a number of things because there's so many different compounds in here. They all have different stuff. You know, some are going after the biofilms that the parasites hide under and the bacteria hide under. Some of them are activating a cloaking mechanism for the immune system to geotag the pathogens in the body so the immune system can target them, right? Some of them are just powerful antioxidants that are help reducing the damage being caused by parasites and bacteria and other pathogens. Things like ozone in here, because this has been ozonated. The oil in here is ozonated. So you're having O3 enter the body, which ultimately, when it hits the large intestines, becomes hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide then goes and destroys the cell walls of all pathogens, gram-negative bacteria, and all things that shouldn't be in the body. You have something in here called caffeic acid phenethyl ester, CAPE, which is the strongest compound and the most expensive compound in there, which is the main compound found in bee propolis that protects the beehives from fungus and mold and bacteria and all those things. Just think about it. What do the beehives represent? What do bees represent? Life. Without bees, none of us would be here. Our entire life is predicated on the fact that bees are pollinating in nature and creating food and creating soil diversity and creating all these different things. Well, what protects the beehives? A phenolic compound called caffeic acid phenethyl ester. And we were brave enough to bring this to Cymbiotika. And that is in this formula. And that is the strongest compound in this formula. And it makes part of the microbeads, the microspheres in there. And so that compound, if you're listening right now, just get on your search engines. If you don't want to use Google, use something else that doesn't track your data, and type in caffeic acid phenethyl ester, and just look at the case studies on HIV. Look at the case studies on tuberculosis, on all the viral loads in there, the infections, on Lyme. It's crazy what caffeic acid phenethyl ester does. That's just one of the compounds in here.
So here's a question. If someone does think that maybe they have parasites, you said everyone has them.
You don't have to have parasites to have this, but you have parasites.
Okay. So if you just take this, are you protected against them?
Well, no, I can't say you're protected against them, but what I can say is you're really giving your body some firepower.
So this is a big disruption.
This is huge.
Yeah, I need some excitement.
We sold out in 30 hours, and that's Cymbiotika. That never happens. That's how big this is, and that's without even Cymbiotika arm really getting its hands around it and really putting it out there. That's just through our own micro ecosystem. The potential here is beyond comprehension right now. We're sitting in
it's 5D.
uncharted. Yeah, it's 5 to 70. We're sitting in uncharted waters right now, and it's really exciting.
I do a selfish thing whenever I have you on, is I think about all the stuff we talk about from your line, and I re-up on it before I put the episode out because I get nervous that it's going to go away.
It's crazy.
Listen, sorry guys, I
have
gotta take care of number
random
one.
question, just random, because it's been like on the internet right now. What do you think about IVs with vitamins in them?
I think we talked about this.
I don't remember what you said.
No, I think to some degree, some of them are good, like Myers cocktails and things like that, where you're getting the magnesium and stuff. But there's certain stuff that you need your body to digest. It needs to go through your GI tract. it needs the liver needs to process it. So you can't. So getting all these like multi potentiating complexes and cocktails are sometimes overkill for the body, and you're just pissing it out. That's my opinion.
NAD?
NAD actually is good in a drip.
You like it?
Yeah, I do like it in a drip.
Okay, I just wanted to know selfishly.
I think it's better in a drip than
glutathione. No, glutathione. I want you to digest it. I want it to go through your GI tract.
Here's how she's trying to give. Here's what I take this glutathione.
Interesting.
No, listen to me. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like IVs. I take this vitamin C, yours, Cymbiotikas, daily. I take the glutathione probably twice a day.
So why does he need a drip?
No, but I'll take a drip when I'm getting on a flight and I know I'm getting on the flight the next day and it's probably overkill and I'm
I want
probably
to know
pissing
what
off.
the doctor thinks.
But here's why. I know it's overkill and I know.
What does Chervin think?
You know what? Gwyneth Paltrow just got a lot of shit for this. Hopefully they don't yell at me now.
Pull
Listen,
this clip and make Michael the new Gwyneth.
it's nice to like. I am paranoid. That's where I spend my money on. Like, not. I don't want to be sick. I can't stand it. So I'd probably go overkill.
Can you invite him to consider why he shouldn't get glutathione before a trip?
Well, you have glutathione right there. Glutathione is one of those that you just want it to go into the GI tract. You want the liver to geotag it. You want to eat it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I knew I could use you to manipulate.
Okay, but what about B?
B? No, you're fine. IV,
B, C,
C, you're fine, but you get more out of consuming C, in my opinion.
NAD.
NAD, you can drip, but don't overdo it.
Yeah, once a month.
Yeah, once a month is okay, but if you're taxing your body, look, the person who's just relaxing and chilling, they don't need an NAD drip every month. But if you got a heavy workload, I
got 2 kids under 3.
You got
a lot to handle.
You got this berserker right here.
Listen,
she's totally berserk.
I need all the fucking help.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how these things work. It's taking a common sense approach with your health. You know your situation more than anyone.
I took about 5 months off NAD. I was like, okay, I was doing like for a while, and then I was like, I felt good to need it, and then I was like, I'll re-up a little bit here.
Cool. How much NAD are you doing? Like 600 mil? Like 600?
Yeah, like just like whatever. Yeah, just once a month.
Okay. And are you doing the slow drip?
Yeah, I go slow. I mean, I know I know you're friends with Kyle Kingsbury, and I've heard this fucking nut has done it in like 2 minutes or something ridiculous or 10 minutes. Well, you probably know.
Yeah, they shotgun it. Yeah. That's crazy.
That is fucking nuts. Hats off to him. I don't
methylene blue and a shotgun NAD. Great.
Yeah, I've never met him, but the fastest I think I've ever done, it's like 30, which like my stomach was just like
it's intense on the body. Yeah, for sure.
When a friend that does it, he does him too, like told me that he did it that fast. I'm like, what an absolute savage. That's gnarly.
That is gnarly. Yeah. I think we're going to be doing an NAD in a couple of days over at Alive and Well. So shout out to them.
Guess what I'm going to ask you about? Ozempic.
Ozempic?
Yes.
Why does that sound familiar?
So many people are on diabetes medicine to lose weight.
Okay, is that one of the names of it? There's other names?
There's another one.
Yes. Semaglutide.
Yeah.
When this came out, I called you and I said, "What is this? Should I try it?" And you were like, "No." Tell us why.
And just so you know, I had some not so nice things to say about the long-term effects of this thing, and people did. It really split the audience. Some were like, "Yeah," some were like really pissed because it's a hot button topic. I mean, it's another kind of, in my opinion, fast solution to a long-term problem.
Yeah, I looked at it. It was actually funny because my CEO, my partner Shahab, he sent me a link on it. I think it was one of his friends was talking about it, and he was like, "Dude," and he's on our page. Like he's just like, people are just rushing to get an instant gratification and not doing the work. And what is that costing us as humanity versus actually getting into the health factors? There's a whole way of looking at this. And that's the whole thing with what we're doing is we really want people to take charge of their health and not look for instant gratification. Instant gratification is causing major problems. Look, I can't probably legally talk about these things in detail because it is a pharmaceutical drug, and people that are possibly morbidly obese or obese for that matter, this could be helping them from getting a heart attack or whatever.
Let's talk about it from the reference of like, hey, you
want to cut 10 pounds?
Yeah, you want to cut 10 or 20 pounds and you're in decent shape, and like you would never like actually really what is this for anything but aesthetics.
What is that saying to yourself first and foremost? If you're that person that is not ready to just mitigate their lifestyle a little bit, get on an exercise plan, hydrate, probably dehydrated. I'll just say that. They're probably constipated too. And and really work on developing faculties of getting healthy versus taking a very, very complex drug, shooting it in their body, and having the pancreas and the metabolic system go haywire and possibly cause future issues, cardiovascular issues, from what I gathered, which makes sense because it's very inflammatory,
Sure.
And so if you're listening to this and this is something that you're thinking about, do some deep dive into your soul and think about what it means to trying to circumvent, getting healthy in the first place.
There's something that gives me like just makes me have anxiety in my stomach with injecting diabetes medicine into you to lose weight. Like there's just something that doesn't sit right.
Yeah, of course.
And also,
well, it's like if you were watching like a cartoon in a few years and you're like, hey, like in order to like lose weight and look the way I want to look, I decided to, revert to using diabetic medicine in order to do that. Like you almost couldn't tell that story with a straight face to yourself. You know what I mean?
It feels spidery.
It is. It's what I'm trying to remember. I should probably look it up, but I think it activates.
Semaglutide.
Yeah, it activates insulin peptide 4 or something. I forgot. Don't quote me on this.
Suppresses appetite as well.
Right, and shuts down your ghrelin and all that stuff. And there are other compounds out there that can do that are not going to have the severe side effects.
Didn't you just launch?
We just launched a metabolic formula. And
I haven't tried it yet.
The main compound in there is, oleoethylamide, which shuts. It doesn't do it how that insulin drug does it, but it does it because it's part of a. It works like kind of a cannabinoid. How cannabis works, it attaches to different molecules in the gut and helps promote something called Akkermansia, which is a healthy bacteria. And that mitigates the sugar cravings, which is really interesting. And we're getting really good feedback on that formula. Like there are ways to work with nature and there's ways of blowing nature out of the water. And taking those types of pharmaceutical drugs, in my opinion, you're playing with fire.
I think the reason I always have such a strong perspective on the quick fix things and the solutions that have instant gratification is we have sat now here with so many people that are such success stories, yourself included. And one of the greatest themes with the people that find success that we've interviewed is it's never been something quick or overnight or instant. It's been this long-term approach, whether you're an author or a writer or an entrepreneur or, you're a physician or you're in the health world. Like everyone that we interview that gets to sit in a seat that you're in and that we're interested in presenting perspective to the audience is like, the common denominator has been a long journey and a long-term approach. And so I'm trying to, I get tough on these things where people come on and they like have these short solutions because I just know it's not going to lead to long-term success, right? You're going to crash and burn at some point.
That's right. And you're not going to continue it throughout. I think we talked about it, you study the night before for a test, you're going to pass that test that day, but 3-4 days later, you're not going to remember anything, right? Versus someone who actually finds passion and loves what they're doing and is doing it for the right reasons. These are things that they're going to grow momentum with in their life. And so that's something that, if you're listening to this, start looking at your last 30 days, look at things that you're always looking for instant gratification for and how those patterns are just keeping you in the same state over and over and you're having the same problems versus, changing that up and taking a different choice and starting to put yourself out there and getting to uncomfortable situations so you can start growing and creating momentum in your life in other ways. We get so caught up in the escapism behavior. That's escapism. Taking an injection. Look, if you're morbidly obese, that's one thing, and this is the only way to cut
diabetic,
diabetic, and you can't properly produce, insulin and whatever it is. But if you're just looking to lose 15 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever, to make that bikini body or whatever, or this and that, then that's a form of escapism, and that is probably umbrellaing into every area of your life, all these different things. Look at other facets of what you're living. You really have to know that how you do anything is how you do everything.
I want to talk about things that are implanted in people's bodies. And I'm starting to have a lot of questions about implants myself, which I'll share my journey with that soon. But also not just with boob implants, but even like screws or metal in people's faces or whatever, knee, whatever. I want to know about what you think about implants.
It's a tough question because I'm a man, and so this is there's no judgment at all. What a woman does to her body is completely her choice, and as a man, I can try to understand that getting your aesthetics to a position that you want for whatever reason is really empowering and beautiful in so many ways. Yet it's a risk that you're going to have to take, and we're starting to know now that breast breast implant illness is real. It's not really that complicated to understand why you'd be getting it. Anytime you put a foreign object in your body, that just immediately a red flag goes up that there could be some problems here. And my opinion is that from my observation, it seems to me that some women are way more affected than other women when it comes to some of the symptoms that come along with implants. Yet, regardless, there is an inflammatory response happening in the body when there's a foreign object. And that's, the body trying to figure out how to push it out. And when it realizes it can't push it out, eventually it creates scar tissue around it. I think they call it the capsulation, right? And it tries to shut it off from the rest of the body because it's basically agreed that this is here to stay. And so sometimes that exasperates the problem for some women. Some people it doesn't. And again, just like we were talking about with parasites, the more problems you have in the body, the more chronic loads you have in the body of all of these things, these bacteria, these infections. We didn't even talk about H. pylori, which is Helicobacter, which is a gram-negative bacteria that, causes gut dysbiosis and leaky gut, which leads to all the other autoimmunes. If you have all these things going on, throwing implants in there just creates more of a load. You get what I'm saying? So it's really, it's finding this, homeostasis in the body. So what are the symptoms with, breast implant illness? I think you mentioned to me that you were feeling some of them. And what I'm seeing is that a lot of cognitive issues, a lot of irregular heartbeat, a lot of symptoms of, feeling anxiety, a lot of hair issues, skin issues, sight issues, menstrual issues. I mentioned thyroid, reoccurring illnesses that keep coming over and over and over, and they just can't seem to get healthy, like constantly fighting a sickness. A lot of fevers seem to be regular because the body is trying to cook something. So these things are real. Also, lymph issues, right? Like nodules in the lymph, swollen lymph nodes, things like that. I also tell women that have implants, be careful with long durations in infrared saunas. We don't know how much that infrared light is penetrating through. These are things like that we got to really consider. And also there is conversation that there's a lot of heavy metals in these implants, even if it's just silicone. In the manufacturing process, you have heavy metals as well. So this stuff's real. I know that there's a big movement right now on explanting. I know a lot of awesome girls awesome women that have done that. I've helped a couple through them in the process. It's really how you really approach after getting the explant.
That's what I heard. You need to do like a gnarly detox.
Yeah. You want to open up the pathways, right? We talk about how the lymph system is similar like our arteries and veins, except arteries and veins are pushing blood and nutrients, and then the heart is pushing it. The lymph is pushing lymph and waste, and there's no heart for it. So what is it? It's kidneys and movement. And so opening up these pathways through breath work, through inversions, through massage, through herbal stuff like Para-X and ozone treatments, all of these things are really, really important. Making sure that you're not putting toxic stuff on your body, those things, not using metals in your deodorants, not making sure that you're not putting garbage toothpaste in your mouth, making sure that you're hydrated, and all these things are so important for this process that you're about to go through if this is something that you're going to do. And the more that you can get educated on the process, the more that you're going to make an educated decision. And also it's important that you choose the right physician for this that knows what they're doing. You don't want to just go to anyone for obvious reasons.
I always have all these fucking notes for you, and
We
like,
don't
I don't
need
even need them for you.
No.
Like I'm like scanning them now, being like, did I miss anything?
No,
here?
we before you go,
There's so many rabbit holes. We didn't even get into psychedelics.
can we get into it really quick? Do you have a minute?
I don't think we have enough time
Okay.
for that. But that's a
well,
whole.
you can come back on.
That's a whole nother thing. We gotta.
But before you go, if you were to pick, because I don't want to overwhelm the audience, if you were to pick 3 things from the Cymbiotika line, what would you pick? And then Michael will pick his and I'll pick mine. So we can just do a little round table.
Oh, that's tough. 3.
I used to have 3. I don't.
Gun to your head that you can only pick 3. Go. You can only pick 3.
That's hard.
Okay. Glutathione. The B12.
The new one.
The new one with the hydroxycobalamin. And the magnesium.
The magnesium
reason
spray or the packet?
The packet. The reason why I said those 3 is because those are universal and everyone and their mama can take it.
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the
Are they the same as Para X or even our new inflammation formula in terms of craziness? No. But those are universal.
I'm going to pick the glutathione. I'm going to pick the vitamin C, and I'm going to pick the magnesium spray because it's like a ritual for me to put that on at night. And I like how it absorbs on my body. I think it smells good and it's insane before I sleep.
It's really, really good. And it's the only magnesium that is in a glass Myron bottle.
I think because you guys already covered the bases, like now I'm like deep into it. We got to throw out the Parax, obviously. I'm going to do the vitamin D3 too with the CoQ10 because I think
I totally forgot about that.
That's a phenomenal one.
That's a great product.
And then the charcoal too, because I don't think a lot of people. I think people sleep on the charcoal.
Yeah,
but it sells out a lot, huh? It's a bit what.
I have a question about the
does.
charcoal that I was going to ask you on air, but hey, we're here. If you are on a medication and you take charcoal, does that hurt the medication that you're on? So say you're on like a thyroid pill, or you're on, I'm just making this up, Adderall, or you're on, I don't even know, Xanax, like you're on something. Does that take away the effect of the pill?
Look, we don't have full evidence that it does. Charcoal is not an absorber. It's an adsorber. That's a scientific, methodology on how it works or its action, which means that because what is charcoal? It's sequestered carbon. It's burning things at a high temperature so the electrons get compact. So when it comes across like a toxin in the body or a heavy metal in the body that has more protons than electrons, it neutralizes it because of that electrical charge. It sucks it in. So that's how it's working. So it's not just pulling everything out of your body. So do I know if it's taking up your medication or something? I don't know. I can't say it does, but I would say side on the air of caution and just have your charcoal away from any of your medications.
Does it take away anything from your vitamins?
No.
Does it take away your hangover after you drink?
It can help.
It can help.
It
Okay.
takes the burden off the liver and the kidneys.
Do we have a code and can we do a giveaway?
We have
I think you
Cymbiotika.com,
guys
code
have
skinny.
I don't know anything about that.
Code skinny. Can we do Lauren and Michael's favorites
Of course.
and Chervin's favorites? Can we do like a big gift basket?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
go berserk.
All you guys have to do is follow at Cymbiotika on Instagram, which most of you probably do. It's such a good one to follow. And tell us your favorite takeaway of this episode on my latest post at Lauren Bostic. If you can't get enough of Chervin, because he's damn good on the mic, go listen to the other 3 episodes he was on. The next time you come on,
Number 5. We'll do another 5th time.
promising the audience, because they've been asking, that we're going to go deep into psychedelics. I might even lick a toad. You never know. Where can everyone find
The reason
you?
I cut that off too is because I feel like that requires a proper long conversation. Like I don't think we can jet through that in 10 minutes.
No.
Let's all
That's
take
an hour.
mushrooms and just go on air.
Let's go berserk.
Where can everyone find you if they want to connect with you?
I have no idea. Where can they find me? Okay, I guess just Instagram is my only social media. So Chervin333.
What's 333?
You're not on Twitter anywhere like that?
I'm not on Twitter.
What's
Uh-uh.
333?
What is 333?
Yeah.
It's not an angel number for me. It's a deep coding. That's a whole nother conversation.
Okay, we'll lick
You
the
know
toad.
it,
We'll
yeah.
go into it. We'll
You're
talk
doing a
about the
cock
coding.
tease. You're like, oh, I'm going to pull it back and then I got to come back on to tell you what 333 is.
3 is the infinite. It's the Trinity. It's the balance of duality and living right in the middle of it, the Christ conscious, and it's a deep part of my anthroposophy, which is my inner knowing and how I go about this life.
I think you're incredible. Thank you so much for coming on again.
I love you guys. I have
love
you
you.
guys' back forever. I really appreciate all the content that you guys are putting out there. You're really making a difference out there and you're having the best time ever. And I'm here for it. Let's keep going.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for
Carson,
coming
make sure
on.
you bring me a dictionary next time we record. I need to look up a lot of words that he mentioned on this episode.